All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to apostle elders in New York, GMS. Salutation to y'all around the world that's teaching the truth. Put your lives on the line for it. And shalom to you, serious Aqua. My name is Maya Kala Bangad with Chicago branch of Great Millstone. Like to make a disclaimer that we are not black Hebrew Israelites. We are Israelites. The Israelites are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, speckled birds, scattered balls, speckled birds are Israelites who look like other nations, but their fathers maternal bloodline go back to the 12 tribes of Israel. All right. And again, we are not black Hebrew Israelites. We are Israelites. All right. We are not affiliated with any black identity extreme groups. We are not affiliated with any fringe militant groups. We are not affiliated with any Islamic groups. We are not affiliated with any other Israelite groups. All right, so we have some information from sciencemag.org about, the Northern Kingdom and the Southern Kingdom. All right. But, they're going to say about DNA. Now, on a broad scale, Esau's not going to tell you, so-called Negroes, Latino, Native American, that you are Israelite by your DNA. All right. Basically, his purpose is to deceive people. So, looking to get validated with Esau by Esau DNA, saying that you're Israelite. No, it's not going to happen on a broad scale. All right. Now, on a minor scale, he might say, because it's a historical fact that the Sephardi and Portuguese Jews went to Latin America. See, he can't ignore that because that's all over the history records and stuff. All right. It's all over, man, But he's not going to tell you that some Sephardi Portuguese Jews went to West Africa. He's not going to say that broadly in the academic world, all right? Or the Sephardi Portuguese Jews or gypsies or Moors came, slaves came to America. He's not going to tell you that in American mainstream education system, all right? All right, so he's not gonna tell you that. All right, so this article right here, all right, it says sciencemag.org. Okay, it says Latin America's lost history revealed in modern DNA. You can see right here, you got the ships. It said British ships often harassed Spanish galleons, which ferried alone forgotten people to Latin America, including enslaved Filipinos and former Jews. All right, we're talking about Jake Haddon from Inquisition. All right, so let's get to the article. Latin America's lost histories revealed in modern DNA. Austin, if you walk in a cobblestone. All right, so this article was April 12th, 2018. All right, so it's 2 years old. It said Austin, if you walk the cobblestone streets of Boston Market Road, 15th century, 7th century, Mexico City, you will see people born all over the world, Spanish settlers on their way to mass at the cathedral built on top of Aztec ruins. All right, so Esau came over there. He took Issachar land and did some people Americas. He built on top of it, man. All right, so it goes with let me see. All right. Let's see, Mike. See, Micah 2:1. It said, "Woe to them that devise iniquity, work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of the hand." Yeah, Esau can't go to sleep. All right, he's made to be wicked, man. All right, he can't go to sleep. I have some type of wicked agenda. All right. It said, "And they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses take them away. So they press a man and his house, even a man and his heritage." All right, so that's what happened in that situation. All right, so they built a mass cathedral on top of Issachar. um, temples, all right, ruins, all right, cities, towns, all right. It said indigenous people from around the world, the Americas, including the soldiers who had joined the Spanish cause. Right here, talking about Africa, talking about the Southern Kingdom, all right, Judah, all right, both enslaved and free. Yep. Some of whom had been among the first conquistadors. Yep. That's another prophecy. Go right here. Deuteronomy 28. All right, cause you got a lot of you black only Israelites. You like to bring up the fact, oh, the Cherokee they had the so-called Negroes enslaved, and they're a bunch of evil people, and don't forget what they did to us. And that's why we don't like all 500 nations, because the Cherokee five civilized tribes: the Cherokee, Choctaw, and Chickasaw, and the Seminoles, all right, and the Choctaw. They had us in slavery, all right. But you participated in conquering your brethren over here, man. All right, so that it was a curse. All right, so right here it says Deuteronomy 28:54, so that the man that is turned among you in very death, his eyes should be evil toward his brother and toward the wife of his bosom and toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave. All right, so that's why Jake, the tribes, even within the Southern Kingdom, within the Northern Kingdom, man, they always beef with each other, man. All right, that's what's going on in that's what's going on in California. All right, but it's not going like it used to be. You know, Jake get emotional on both sides. Issachar and Judah side. When they see Jake slapping up Issachar and stuff, man, all that. That's part of curses, man. And it really goes back to you read 1 Kings chapter 11, man, when Yahweh divided up the kingdoms, man. All right, and when I believe it was Solomon's son Rehoboam, when the Northern Kingdom asked him, hey man, take it easy on us, man. Your father, he was brutal on us, man, with the on the tasks and stuff. And so he sat up there and listened to these dumb 2/3 up in the council. It was it was a two group of Southern Kingdom elders. They was like, hey man, take it easy. You should take it easy on them. The other one said, no man, don't take it easy on them, man. Or they'll. I'm just paraphrasing. They said, they'll run over you. Don't. All right. So Rehoboam just when took the wrong advice, man. But actually, that was gonna happen, man. Because the Most High was gonna rend the kingdom. He's gonna rend the Northern Kingdom from the rest of the tribes from King Solomon, man. But he had to keep his promise, so that's why he gave Solomon 3 tribes: Judah, Benjamin, Levi. All right, and I believe he gave Jeroboam the rest of the 10 tribes. All right, so it had to happen, and that's what it goes back to, man. That beef, man. All right. All right, that's part of curses, man. Because Solomon went off by worshiping the idols of his concubines. All right, and his wives, who's of heathen origins. All right. So that's why you had the Southern Kingdom conquistadors. All right, all throughout America. That's why you have Gad, the Cherokee, Chickasaw, Choctaw. All right, and Reuben, so-called Simeonians, but Reuben they was more easy on Jake, man. But you had the rest of the Gadite tribes, man. They was enslaving Judah, man. They also enslaved other Gadites along the East Coast, and then the north, the southwestern area, you had the Comanches, man. They was beating the hell out of the other Gadites, enslaving them, man, selling them to slavery. And also they was kidnapping Issachar, man. All right, so they all go back to Deuteronomy 28:54. All right, now you see, then you had Jay. Oh yeah, you had Judah enslaving Judah, man, in the South. All right, and they was Confederates, man. They fighting the Confederates, man, because they was scared because they was scared because they was gonna go in slavery. Along they was afraid they was gonna go in slavery, and they was afraid they was gonna lose they fortunes, man, and they land, you know. All right, but it also go back to Deuteronomy 28:54. All right, it says some who had been among the first conquistador agents who traveled to Mexico and Spanish Gallians, some by choice, some in bondage. All these populations met and mingled for the first time in colonial America. All right, let's see right here. It says historical document described as cultural mixture, but now international teams of research are enriching our view by analyzing the genomes of people today, aided by sophisticated statistics, worldwide genetic databases. They can tease apart ancestors and population, mixing more nuisance than before. The results before the meeting here this week in a preprint tell stories of Latin America that have been largely forgotten. It was purposely forgotten too. All right, and were never recorded in historical documents, right? So which one is largely forgotten or were never recorded in historical documents? It was never recorded in historical documents, man. All right. Meaning by mainstream, it wasn't basically this information was presented in mainstream American education. All right, that's what it means. All right. It said from the immigration of enslaved Filipinos to that of formerly Jewish families forbidden to travel to the colonies, hidden stories started emerging. All right, so telling those Jakes that came over here for Spain to Portugal, they was fleeing Esau, man. But nothing not gonna tell you that they brought some of the Moriscos and the Sephardi Jews over here, man. All right, it says Rodriguez advisor Andres Morano Estrada, published Genius at Lange Bio, turned to historical record to figure out who these people ancestors might be. They learned from historians who studied ship manifests and other trade documents that during the 16th, 17th century, Spanish galleons sailed from Manila and Puerto Acapulco and Guerrero. You got some brothers out camp, they from Guerrero, carrying goods, people, including enslaved Asians. Although historians knew of this trans-Pacific slave trade, the original victims were lost. Why you think it was lost? All right, it said once they landed in Mexico, they was all recorded as Chinos, Chinese, says Moreno Estrada, who will present the work this weekend at American Association of Physical Anthropologists, the annual meeting there. We're uncovering the hidden stories of slavery and the people who lost their identities when they embark on a new country. Now, then right here it said other researchers studied last year of another marginalized groups of colonial Mexico, Africans. All right, so we know these are not Africans. We know these are Hebrew Israelites. All right, from the Southern Kingdom. All right, and you go right here. You go to I'm gonna go to this definition. All right, you go to right here, Ham, Zombie Bible Dictionary. All right. Which we always go to. All right, go to images. Yeah, go right there. It says Ham. All right, it's a cut to scoff Ham, perhaps hot. The youngest son of Noah, born probably about 96 years before the flood, and one of the 8 persons lived through the flood, he became the progenitor of the dark races, not the Negroes. All right, so the so-called Negroes are not Hamites, but the Egyptian, Ethiopians, Libyans, and Canaanites. All right, this is what the Bible scholars say. All right, and this is what vocab alone ignores. This is what Jamil Hill ignores. This is what Ebro ignores. All right, This is what D.L. Hewley ignores. This is what Steve Harvey ignores. All right. This is what Candace Owens ignores. All right. This is what T.D. Jakes ignores, and the rest of Bishop Bacon and Pastor Pork Chops, man. All right. That's what they ignore. All right. So, all right. It said other researchers studied Lazi, another marginalized group, colonial Mexico, Africa. We know that these are Israelites. It said tens of thousands of slave and free Israelites live in Mexico during the 16th and 17th century, outnumbering Europeans. Today, almost all Mexicans carry about 4% of, it's not African, right? So this is Southern Kingdom ancestry, right? Judah, because you got some Judites among those, among Issachar so-called Mexicans, man. You got some don't even look like some Judites, all right? But they're Judah, man. Or they Benjamin, all right? And there could be Levi among them. Could say in the scripture, Levi be scattered among all tribes, man. All right, but all this together, man, just prove Jeremiah 50 and 30, man. All right, it's gonna say what? It's gonna say what? Jeremiah 50 and 33. All right, that's what I meant. I said 30. All right, but anyways, Jeremiah 50 and 33. Okay, it's gonna tell you. It says what? It said, "Thus said Yahweh hosts, the children of Israel, the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go." All right. All right. So you have the Southern Kingdom, Northern Kingdom enslaved together, man. All right. And I'm leaning towards the slaves from the Philippines. Those, they have to be Northern Kingdom, man, because the same what they call it, miscegenation had happened to them, all right, or race missing, right, miscegenation, all right. It's a lot if I pronounce that wrong, but they had to be from the Northern Kingdom, man. All right, but they're gonna tell you that those slaves for the Filipinos, they was dark skinned, man. All right, it was dark skinned, all right. And another thing I'll tell you, that they carried so-called Mexicans, the distribution of Mexico to the Philippines, man. They're not gonna tell you that, all right. And it goes with this the curse of Deuteronomy 20 and 68, all right. It says right here, Deuteronomy. Bring that out, yeah, because they brought some of the Filipinos over here. All right, so go Deuteronomy 28:68. All right, it says right here, it says Yahweh shall bring thee to Egypt again with ships. All right, so this is not talking about ancient Egypt. It's talking about bondage, and it's talking about spiritual Egypt, but it's America. By the way, I spake unto thee. All right, unto thee. And actually, Mexico is actually part of North America. Do your research, right? It said, by the way, I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. Talking about the land of Israel. This whole nation never see the land again. And there you be sold unto your enemies. Right? Most High gave us up to our enemies. No one enemy, Esau, and the rest of them. For bondmen and bondwomen, we end up on the auction blocks, and no man should buy it, and nobody should save us. Nobody should say we have to endure that captivity. Okay. Now let's go to let me see where I want to go to. Let me see. And this is right here, the black groups of Filipinos. All right. You know what? I'm gonna go to another site before this. Let me see. Let me see. It says right here on being Filipino. All right, this is from November 5th, 2019. It says, he put that. They said the opinions in this article are the authors and published by our content probably do not represent the view of MSN or Microsoft. So he won't get in trouble. It said, it for sure would take more than a day's visit to truly understand the culture, the nature, the essence of a nation, but there is something about Mexico and Mexicans that can make a Pinoy feel at home sitting up on the foot of the United States southern neighbor. My first visit to Mexico was back in 1981 when I was asked by the Malacana press officer to join a group of media, advertising, and public relations professionals who made the President Fernando Marcos official contingent for the North-South Summit in Cancun. Except for the dominance of beans in the mills and total closing down of business at midday siesta. All right, so that goes back to the prophecy in Genesis 49. All right. They be doing this, man. Right? Genesis 49. You can see 14. All right. It says right here. It said Issachar is a strong ass crouching down between two birds. All right, their burrow. All right, the donkey head. All right, that's a symbol for Issachar. All right, the travel symbols for Issachar. All right, it says two birds. That's America, Mexico. All right. It says and he saw that the rest was good. All right, it's talking about that siesta. All right, talking about siesta. They take their rest, man. All right. It says that's where they come from. All right. It says what he says Salak. All right. It says I sensed something very familiar about the environment in Mexico that was almost deja vu. Even prohibition of good-looking femininity was so reminiscent of Metro Manila. All right. This ain't that mean to say so many mestizos. My advertising colleague Emil Miza gushed as we watched the girls go by at Mexico City street corner. Emil, along with fellow admin Greg Garcia III and Luis Morales, Tom Beguias, myself were just called the Cancun Boys because of that trip. In fact, to make ourselves useful at the Cancun Summit, another executive, Tony Zorilla, and our group decided to put out a summit leading Mexican English language and Spanish language dailies, highlighting the remarkable tight bond that make Mexico and Filipinos. Virtual Uto or Caputo, a Taylog, a down, referring to the siblings cut for the same umbilical cord. All right. All right. It said, I wrote almost all the articles for something around theme of shared Spanish, colonial history, religion, culture, and even language going back to Manila, Acapulco, Galena trade. It was in the early 1990s on subsequent visit to Tijuana, the northmost Mexican city born U.S. in San Diego, that similarities between Philippines and Mexico really struck me. The streets of Tijuana looked like so much a Cabo, any Manila commercial area, storefronts, dusty streets, traffic, and even all the people. All right. It said this week I just made a quick trip to Cabo San Lucas and Puerto Vallarta, a favorite playground of rich and famous. I have become even more convinced that Manila will have no difficulty integrate into Mexico's mainstream, right? Because they the same people. I said, all right. It said when the general impression is that Latin American country, chief of Mexico, was so dominated by Spanish conquistadors that nearly everyone looks Hispanic. The fact is that the indigenous Indio population had managed to maintain their presence, and brown continued to be a dominant race in the country. I'm gonna read this again. The fact is that the indigenous Indio populace had managed to maintain their presence, and brown continues to be a dominant race in these countries. All right, so you got people like folk be talking about, oh man, they're a bunch of Edomites, man, and they a bunch of Spaniards. All right, that's not true, man. All right, what do Yahweh say, man? All right, he said that Israel should be like the sand of the sea. All right, you go to Hosea chapter 1, verse 10. It says, "Yet the number of children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured, no number, and it shall come to pass in that place where it was said unto ye are not my people, there it shall be said unto ye are the sons of the living power." All right, that cuts that doctrine that Israel shall be a small number. All right, that cuts that all right, so that proved that the people in Mexico are the Israelites, man. Say Israel's be the sand of the sea. Israel not gonna be a small number. Now you got scoffers that like to say, you see the so-called Afro Mexicans, they small among them, man. They small among them, man. You know, so that means that Israel should be a small number. They do that say because they don't want to admit that the brown people who paternal bloodline go back to the indigenous people of Mexico are Israelites. They do that on purpose. They do that, all right. But the scriptures, the scriptures cuts that doctrine, man. All right, and also history, man. All right, secular history that goes on with the scriptures. All right, all right. So go back to the article. All right. It says the fact that Columbus at U.S. holiday observed Mexico and other Latin countries as Dia de la Raza, the day of race, not with joy fondness, but with bitterness and horror, is a testament to massive enforceable Hispanization of the Indios, often through rape. All right, yeah, Esau came and conquer these land, Mexico and the Philippines. All right. It said this observable historian is where the Spanish colonization of the Philippines and Latin American country had differed. The Spanish conquistadors in Latin America committed genocide, decimated the indigenous population, and sirened thousands of half-breeds who became the dominant mestizo class. Right, Esau ruled those countries, man. All right, so up here it tell you that the indigenous people in Mexico was still around, and down here to tell you who's ruling Mexico, man, is the terror bearers, man, the offspring of these Edomites, and also the ones that didn't mix with Issachar in Mexico, man. All right, it's yeah, man. All right, and they dropping off they terror bearers among them, man. All right. It says, let me get this card about what's that? The wheat. Yeah, wheat and tares, right? It says Matthew 13 and 25. All right. It said, "But while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat and went his way." All right. So the tares are the offspring of the Edomites, the wheat are the Israelites, man. All right. They also go with another prophecy. Cause you know some of the women was engaged or married to those indigenous people in Mexico and in Philippines who are the Israelites. You go right here, Deuteronomy 28 and 30. It said, "Thou shalt be betrothed a wife, and another man shall lie with her. Thou shalt build a house. Thou shalt not dwell therein. Thou shalt plant a vineyard, and thou shalt not gather the grapes thereof." All right, but it's here, right? It said, "Thou shalt be wroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her." Okay. And they sired these terror bearers, these conquistadors among Issachar in Mexico and the Israelites in the Philippines, right? It says, let me get right here. Well, what I left all that. This was not the case in the Philippines, although Spanish pride did help themselves in Filipino woman, thus leaving Hispanic seeds throughout the islands, particularly in major cities in Visayas, Mindoro, and Luzon. All right. It said Dr. Jose Rizal underscored this and Nolan me tangere with the tragic character of Maria Clara, sired by Pedro de Meso Even even Rizzo's hero Cristobal Ibarra belonged to elite mestizo class itself. All right, another thing I want to say, some of these conquistadors, they was Southern Kingdom, man. All right, and they popped some of these Issachar women. All right, in Mexico, man. All right. It says right. It says while the U.S. mainly through the Thomasites succeed and obliterate much of the vestiges of Spain, displaced them in Americans, the Hispanic physiognomy is still apparent among Filipinos. All right. It said because the Malay race is similar to that the Indios in Latin America, the non-mestizo Pinoy could be mistaken for a native Mexican. Those who had some Spanish in their blood, even dominant Malay feature, could pass for typical brown-skinned Mexicano. All right. So but I'm gonna get into that Malay, all right, because they was dark. It was darkening that, man. Also, this car was darkening that before Esau came over and mixed in, his blood, all right. But you got some of the real dark, man, still there today, man. All right, but it says, needless to say, the mestizos who pop. And another thing, Esau did paper genocide. All right, he had a lot of Issachar. This happened during I believe the 15 or 1600s. One of them, man. They made Issachar register themselves as mestizos, man. All right, to basically to perpetrate this so-called white supremacy, what I call Edomite inferiority. All right. It says right here. It says right here. Needs to say, mestizo who populate the Philippine entertainment industry could well be the mainstay in Univision, leading Hispanic TV network in the U.S. All right, but anyway, it said between 1565 and 1815, Spanish gallows braved the Pacific Ocean, manned by crewmen forcibly taken from the local population. According to one article entitled "For the Love of Mexico," estimate that 1,000 Asians from Malaysia and the Philippines, all right, and I brought an article that some of them Malaysian slaves were brought to Brazil, man, all right, and the Philippines were brought to Mexico as slaves of the galleons. One can safely assume that at least half of them were natives of Las Filipinas, since most of the galleons set off from Villas Municipal. All right, it said today there are communities in Mexico where families trace their roots to the Philippines. There are obviously the descendants natives of Las Filipinas who sail to the New World on the galleons. All right, it said many of the Filipino crew managed to sail down Mexico, particularly Acapulco, while the number jumped ship to escape the marshes of Louisiana. All right, there were those who settled in Mexico and married Mexican women, raised families, man. All right. And I feel so these people, some of these these sailors, man, and these some of these sailors and these captains from Malay and Malaysia and the Philippines, man. I'm not sure what they originally looked like, man. This is beginning with Esau. All right. I'll say around about like a little between the 16th century and the 18th century, man. I'm gonna show you, man, that they had, they mixed in with Esau, all right. They mixed in with Judah, all right. They mixed with Moab, all right. Talking about in the Philippines, man. All right, that's why some a little different. But originally they was dark skinned, man. All right, so you go right here. Let me see. This is it right here. The Negritos or Malay. All right. Now, this is it right here. It said Negritos or Malay. Malay tone the light skin. All right. Negrito like the Negro look. All right. It said who are the original inhabitants of the Philippines. This is from Southeast Asian Archaeology.com. All right. What date is this article? Let me see. Updated. All right, so it's on. Well, I'm trying to find it. But anyway, all right, so it's been updated. It says it said updated. For some reason, this is the one of the most visited and commented posts on the site. It was time for a better contextualization of this article. It says the link, the Philippine Inquirer, dated February 12, 2008. Wow, it's no longer active. Its opinion piece by Vincent Cabriza summarized a paper presented by Lawrence Reed from the University of Hawaii about the misrepresentation of the indigeneity in the Philippines and the Austrian migration. Right, that's what Esau do, man. He lies, man. All right, because these islands in different countries, man, they originally had about melanated people, man. All right, like in that book, the Negro Question, Part 4, and in the other books, part 6, man. Benjamin Franklin said that Europe, Africa, Asia, and America were populated by tawny people, dark-skinned people. All right, but Esau, he is a liar. All right, he lies, man. All right, you go right here, Psalms 58:3. It says, the wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they born, speaking lies. All right, and this is one of the lies that was pushed by Esau and his co-conspirators, man. It says in Psalms 83, man. All right, that they was gonna do this, right? To have the fact, to have, you know, to have who is Israel, all right, and another thing to had history, man, to have their history from Israel, right? It says the then common view is that all Filipinos are descendants from migratory Australian Malay population, to the light-skinned ones, all right. However, prior to this migration, Austrian-speaking people in Southwest Asia, that there were already other people living across Southeast Asia, the ancestors, so-called Negritos. All right. Reed's paper, Who Are the Original Origin Transformation, can be assessed here. The paper discussed the idea of indigeneity in the Philippine context, reviews the linguistic, archaeological evidence for Austrian migration from Taiwan or southwest southern China and the rest of the Southeast Asia. I have included a larger quote from the end of Carber's piece for clarity, as well as updated recommended books list. All right. It says right here, this is the art. It said, who are the indigenous? The Philippine Inquirer, 12 February 2008. It said all these years school teachers had taught Filipino children that Filipinos belong to the Malay stock. Now comes a language scholar who has authored influential studies about Cordillera and other Philippine language for almost 50 years, who say that the linguistic, archaeological, and anthropological findings collected through years prove that this assertion may have been wrong. Right, so they was taught lies, man. Okay, they was taught lies. All right. It says based on comprehensive study of the Philippine language and dialects, Dr. Lawrence Reed, a New Zealand-born researcher and mistress of the University of Hawaii, dates the indigenous and mainstream Filipino to Taiwan about 4,500 years. All right, all right, we all know this, you know. All right, that BS. All right, you know, because we all know that the Negritos are Israelites. You know, they've been over there not 5,400 years. All right, but we know those people, the Malays, not indigenous to the Filipinos. All right, the Filipinos. All right, the Philippines. All right, it says added September 20th, part of Cabrera's original story. Reed said it's simply not true. The ancestor of the Ufingos or any other quarter people, Quarterlineran people, or the Tagalogs or the other lowland groups are descendants of the original inhabitants of the Philippines. When your ancestors first arrived in the islands, they was not unoccupied. They were occupied by maybe 100 groups of Negritos. All right, these are the Israelites, most who had been completely assimilated or had died out. He said scientists had located 25 present-day groups of Negrito stock who still thrive, although they are on the brink of extinction themselves. All right, it says Negritos are the true first Filipinos who date back to 50,000 years. He said, that's a lot. I won't date back no 50,000 years, man. All right. It said while they influenced, but they was the first people in that land. All right. It says while the Figo answer who reputedly built the World Heritage Interest Rice Terrace appeared to have arrived only 4,000 years ago as their first colonizers. All right. All right. It was these first Filipinos who are the most downtrodden, socially marginalized of all Filipinos, most in need of urgent action to enable them to survive this society. All right. Okay. So yeah, I always he said in the curses. Right. Go to I'm gonna come back with part 2. All right.